Okay, so get ready, because today we are diving deep into Virgo and Scorpio compatibility.
Oh, this should be interesting.
It really should.
Yeah,
We're talking about Virgo, the ultimate planner, the analyzer, always thinking ahead.
right.
And then we have Scorpio, passionate, mysterious, intense,
Deep.
deep, exactly, like
Yeah.
two completely different worlds colliding.
Sometimes those are the most exciting connections, though, when you have that contrast, that kind of
Yeah,
like push and pull.
totally.
Virgo, with their very grounded, practical nature, can be like completely captivated by Scorpio's like emotional depth.
Yeah, I think Scorpio can unlock the side of Virgo that maybe even they didn't know existed.
Right.
So let's talk about intimacy, because the astrologers that we've been looking at have some really interesting insights into how this plays out between these two signs.
Yeah, for sure. One of the most intriguing things is how Scorpio is drawn to Virgo's, I don't know, a better way to say it, chastity.
Really, Scorpio's a sign
Mhm.
that is known for being so comfortable with intimacy, is fascinated by Virgo's more reserved approach.
Right. It's not that they are trying to like convert Virgo or anything.
Oh,
It's more that it's like this really exciting, like, oh, uncovering this like mystery,
Right.
peeling back the layers.
like a challenge.
Yes.
Like Scorpio sees Virgo as a challenge
Exactly.
to be the one to really truly know them emotionally and physically.
Yes. And this is a really important point because it ties into the emotional connection that is so important for both of these signs, especially in the bedroom.
Right, because Scorpio, despite their reputation, is a water sign.
Yes. Very much driven by emotions.
So it's never just a physical act. It's
Yeah.
about that deep connection.
Exactly.
And I imagine for Virgo, who can crave that sense of like emotional security, Scorpio's intensity is very reassuring.
Totally. It's like they each kind of fulfill a deep-seated need in the other.
Okay.
But that same intensity can also backfire if they're not careful.
How so?
Well, the astrologers pointed to the influence of Venus, the planet of love.
Well,
And if either partner, but especially Virgo, feels unloved or unappreciated in the relationship, things can really fizzle out quickly.
wow. So it's not just about the passion. It's about making sure that both partners feel valued and cherished.
Absolutely. And this leads into another really important aspect of any relationship, and that's trust, which we know is a big one for both of these signs, but for very different reasons.
For sure.
What are your thoughts on their individual approaches to trust?
Well, it seems like for Virgo, trust is all about feeling secure.
Yeah, that's
Like
great.
they need to know that their partner is reliable, consistent, dependable.
Right, because remember how important order is to Virgo.
Yeah,
They like things to be in their place, and that includes their relationships.
totally. So for a Virgo, trust isn't something that's just given freely
No, it's definitely something that's earned over time.
through actions.
Yes, consistent actions.
Okay, so then on the flip side, we have Scorpio,
Right.
who approaches trust with this like fierce loyalty.
You say fierce, I'd say like an innate sense of knowing. Like they just seem to know.
Yeah.
And they are quick to react if they sense any dishonesty.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about it, even though they approach trust differently,
Right.
this could actually be a place where they really connect.
I think so too.
because they understand each other's fears around it.
Yes.
Like, Virgo gets why Scorpio needs that unwavering loyalty. And Scorpio understands Virgo's need for a solid, dependable partner.
Absolutely. It's like they speak the same language.
Right.
Even if it's with a different accent.
I like that.
And
Okay, but speaking of language, how do these two signs navigate communication?
no, this is interesting.
Because we've talked about their different approaches and how that plays out with trust.
Right.
So how does that play out in their day-to-day interactions?
So Virgo is ruled by Mercury, right?
Yeah.
The planet of communication.
Right.
So at first glance, they might seem like the more expressive of the two.
Because they're always analyzing and making witty observations.
Exactly. But don't mistake that quick mind for superficiality. Because Virgo has hidden depths.
Right.
They want to have those deep conversations.
Okay, so we're not talking about just gossiping over coffee.
No.
It's more like dissecting philosophy.
Yeah, or debating, the meaning behind a work of art.
Exactly.
And Scorpio, on the other hand,
Right.
they're less about verbal expression
Okay.
and more about that silent intensity.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Like, those smoldering looks from across the room,
Yeah.
those knowing glances.
It's like they're communicating on another level.
They
Or
are.
like telepathically almost.
Yeah, and they're both really comfortable with silence.
That's a good point.
Letting those thoughts and feelings simmer
Yeah.
before they erupt into those passionate late-night conversations.
I love that. So we've got one sign that loves to go deep
Right.
and the other that thrives on figuring things out.
Exactly.
And they kind of push each other to think in new ways.
They do.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the emotional side of things, because we have Scorpio, the master of emotions. And then Virgo, who we've established, is more grounded in logic.
More practical.
Right. Can they really meet each other's emotional needs?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
This is where we can see either incredible intimacy
Yeah.
or just like total blow-ups.
Because remember we talked about Scorpio's intensity being like a black hole.
Right.
Captivating, but also a little intimidating.
Totally. And that can be a lot for Virgo to process.
Yeah.
Because it's not that Virgo doesn't feel deeply, it's
Right.
that they process things differently.
Right.
They analyze, they rationalize, they might even try to like compartmentalize to understand it.
Which is the complete opposite of a Scorpio.
Right.
Scorpios dive in head first.
Exactly. And that can be both exhilarating and overwhelming for Virgo.
I can see that.
Like, imagine being swept away by a current you can't control.
Okay, so how do they navigate that?
Well, the thing is,
Okay.
no one understands Scorpio's emotional depths quite like a Virgo.
Really?
They see right through that intensity to the vulnerability underneath,
Wow.
and that is so attractive to a Scorpio.
And for Virgo, who craves that emotional security,
Yes.
they find it in Scorpio's devotion.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's huge potential here.
Huge.
But it's about balance.
It is.
Finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, let's switch gears for a second and talk about their values.
Okay.
What are the things that these two signs hold dear?
And where might those values clash?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they both seem to really crave depth.
It's true, but they express it so differently. Like,
Yeah.
take their intellectual pursuits.
Okay.
Virgo loves to, like, really analyze things.
We have to break it all down.
All the little details.
Yeah.
Scorpio, though,
Okay.
they're drawn to, like, mysteries, the unknown.
The hidden truth.
Exactly.
So you could have Virgo reading a biography
All right.
and Scorpio's curled up with like a book on ancient Egypt.
Totally.
But they can still connect over that shared love of knowledge.
Absolutely. Their desire to understand the world on a deeper level.
It's like they challenge each other to see things from a new perspective.
100%.
But of course, we can't talk about compatibility without talking about where those values clash.
Right, because no two signs are totally perfectly compatible.
Exactly. And I'm thinking about their different approaches to like their stuff.
Oh, yeah, the astrologers talked about this. It was pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Like, imagine Scorpio wanting to keep something like, I don't know, a lock of hair from their first haircut.
Oh, my God.
And Virgo is like, why?
Yeah.
Virgo needs things neat and tidy.
Totally. I can just imagine Virgo politely suggesting a donation pile.
Well, Scorpio's like, no way this is important to me.
Right. It's sentimental.
Exactly.
But that's where that compromise comes in.
Yes, finding that
Where
balance.
those differences work
Exactly.
instead of creating conflict.
And you know, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
we've been talking a lot about sun sign compatibility.
Which is interesting.
It is.
But it's not the whole picture, is it?
No, it's more like the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
To really, truly understand a relationship astrologically, we'd need to look at individual birth charts.
Okay, because those charts go deeper.
They do.
They reveal so much more about someone's personality.
Absolutely. Strengths, weaknesses, their potential.
Okay, so for our listeners who are ready to go beyond those sun signs,
Yes.
what would you recommend?
Well, I'd say don't be afraid to dive deep.
I like it.
Explore those birth charts.
Okay.
Connect with an astrologer.
Yeah.
But most importantly, approach it all with curiosity.
Because that's what astrology is all about, right?
Yes.
It's learning more about ourselves and our connections.
And using that knowledge to build those stronger relationships.
I love that. So we've explored a lot today.
We have.
We've gone deep into Virgo and Scorpio compatibility.
All those passionate depths.
Their emotional
Their
connection.
love of knowledge.
And how they deal with all that stuff.
It's been a really fun journey.
It has. And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired
Me too.
to maybe look a little deeper into their own astrological connections.
Yes.
And just remember, whether you're a Virgo, a Scorpio, or any other sign,
Right.
the key to a successful relationship is mutual understanding, respect, and maybe just a little cosmic curiosity.
He said it.